So here's a question for you realtors out there. Seller's disclosure statements. Do investors have to fill one out? Or if a seller never lived in the house, do they have to fill out the seller's disclosure statement? We run into this issue a lot in Metro Detroit, where agents will write seller never lived here right on the seller's disclosure statement in an attempt to absolve the seller of the responsibility of telling the buyer what they know or don't know about a home. Well, here's a news flash. Not having lived in a home does not exempt sellers from filling out the seller's disclosure statement. So whether you are an investor who buys multiple properties or a single investor who buys properties one at a time, you are required by Michigan law to fill out the seller's disclosure statement. See, the seller's disclosure statement, or the Seller's Disclosure Act, consists of 16 sections, but agents only concern themselves with one of those sections, and that's section 7, which is the seller's disclosure form. But there are 15 other sections to this document, and a lot of agents don't even know it exists. Now, in section 3 of the Seller's Disclosure Act, it lists the exceptions to filling out a seller's disclosure form, and none of these exceptions include an investor who hasn't lived in the house. Let's take a look. Note, there are a few exceptions to having to fill this out. I've highlighted them here. And as you can see, there's no exception for investors who have never lived in the home. The allowed exceptions have mostly to do with what happens during the foreclosure process and what happens in an estate sale and stuff like that. Properties that are owned by the government or by banks, but that's it. Now, take a look at this. Section 15 is titled Liability of the Agent. Here it states that real estate agents can be held liable if they and their client or their client writes this on the seller's disclosure form, knowing that the seller is not in one of these excluded categories. Now, how many brokers are telling their agents this, man? It's a shame. So, anywho, now you know, and I hope you guys are up to practicing being a good realtor and a good steward by protecting your clients and protecting yourself, because ignorance of the law will never be an excuse.